Gives a bit more weight, just by these 3 bars happening right at this price, Doji here. That is where there's a very high chance of prices rebounding. Buyers are ready to take out all the sellers, and we are prepared to go even higher. You definitely want to know how to read candlestick patterns in order to increase your odds of winning in the stock market. So there are many things to focus on in the market, like the indicators, we have chart patterns, we have some price action as well, right? But I would say that candlestick patterns will be one of the things to really master as well. So in this video, guys, I'll be talking about candlestick pattern. What are some of the top candlestick patterns that you definitely want to focus on? And of course, if you do see these candlestick patterns at the right areas, at the right zones, at the right places, that is where there's a very high chance of winning, of taking a trade, and then being right in the direction of the trade as well, right? So let's get started right now. So there will be some case studies that I'll look at as well, but before we talk about some case studies, let's go ahead to dive into my whiteboard right now as I explain to you the basics of candlestick and some of my most favorite, right, bullish candlestick patterns. So every day that the market is traded, there will be what we call 4 prices, right? So we have what we call the opening price, the closing price at the end of the day, and also the high of the day and the low of the day. So just 4 prices. So these 4 prices, open, close, high, low, will give rise to a candlestick bar. This is what we call a daily candlestick bar. So let me dive into my whiteboard right over here. You can see that in this area, right, this is what we call a green candlestick bar. So a green candlestick bar just means that it opens, all right, it opens at the bottom, open lower, and it closes higher. So it opens lower and close higher. And we have these little black lines at the top and at the bottom. You can see these black lines. These black lines will be what we call the shadow. So this is a black vertical line at the top. It represents the high of the day, right? So this is the high of the day, and this would be the low of the day. So as I mentioned, right, every single day there will be like 4 main prices: open, close, high, low, and once the day is completed, you have a candlestick bar. So a red candlestick bar, all right, would just means that it actually opens higher and it closes lower, right? So that's just the opposite of the green bar that, kind of like opens lower and close higher. Red bar is open high and close low. And same thing, we have what we call the high of the day, which is the same high of the day over here, and same thing, this is the low of the day, right? Pretty much it represents these black vertical lines, the shadows at the top and at the bottom of the candlestick bar, right? So this is pretty much how what it means on the candlestick bar. So if we look at a daily candlestick bar, every single day there'll be 1 candlestick bar. So the next day passes again, we have another candlestick bar. Another day passes, there will be another candlestick bar. So with like 5 days, there'll be 5 bars. 10 days, there'll be 10 bars. So which candlestick bar do you think would be like more bullish, right? Is it like the green bar on the left, or is it the red bar on the right? More bullish, that means stronger. That means if you see a candlestick bar like this, it gives you more of a direction to buy rather than to sell. Which is it, right? So the answer is definitely on the left one. So a green candlestick bar would definitely be more bullish, right, compared to the red candlestick bar, assuming that all things the same in terms of the shadow at the top, the shadow at the bottom, they're all the same length. A green bar would be mostly more bullish. Why? Because you can see that for a green bar, as I mentioned, it opens lower and close higher. So throughout the day, I mean, of course, it went down a little bit in the day as well, but buyers came back and pushes up, and it closes somewhere at the high of the day. That means buyers actually have to push up or buy up. A lot of sellers, a lot of prices, a lot of ask price, right? And for prices to move higher and higher, and it close up. So it take out a lot of sellers as it moves up. Same thing for the bearish candlestick bar, it opens higher and sellers came back and have to push prices down. So it takes out a lot of buyers or sellers just throwing down direct at a bid, and prices go down and down and down, bit by bit, until it went all the way to a low, rebounds back a bit and close at a low as well. So a red bar would be more bearish, a green candlestick bar would definitely be more bullish. All right, so let's take a look at another candlestick bar, right? So there's so many names for different candlestick patterns, but I normally don't like to remember any of those names. I like to understand the meaning or the concept behind each of the candlestick bar, and just by understanding the meaning behind, it gives you a better, I would say, understanding of what to do when you see that particular candlestick bar, rather than memorizing all the different candlestick patterns. There's more like 10, 20, 100 of patterns. So you can see this is a new candlestick bar right over here on this one, right? So this one, you can see that there is no color, all right? There's no color. You can see that it's just like a cross, so there's no red or green at all. Why? Well, because this just means that the opening price, you can see right over here, that the opening price and the closing price is the same, right? So when there are any difference in terms of the opening and closing price like this, right? So open low, close high, or open high, close low, yeah, then there will be like a green or red bar. But if there are no colors, there's no green or no red, and it's just one black line in the middle, all right, then it means that the opening price and the closing price is the same, all right. And if you see like this shadow, same thing, there's a high of the day and this is the low of the day. Well, it gives you a bit of direction in terms of where prices are at the high and also where prices are at the low. So if you see a doji, what does it represent? Well, normally when we see a doji happening, somewhere near a resistance or maybe even near a support level, that is where this is what we call signs of a reversal. So for example, let's say we have a stock that is like consolidating sideways, right, just below a very key resistance level, whereby sellers are coming back and it pushes back down many times, could be 2 months, 5 months, 3 months. And also we may have seen a support level as well, and that's where prices actually rebounded many times near this support level. So if you do see a doji right near the resistance level, somewhere over here, whereby many times it has traded lower, it near it, sellers comes back and it pushes back down, and we see a doji right over here or maybe over here, right? Well, there's a very high probability of prices potentially retracing back down again. So this is what we call something like a reversal, right? Reversal candle, all right? Especially if you see it at what we call areas whereby sellers are coming back near a resistance, or maybe if you sit near this support zone right over here, whereby it's a support level, many times we have rebounded. And same thing, if you do see like a doji here, that is where there's a very high chance of prices rebounding from the support level as well. So a doji kind of like represents what we call a reversal. There's a potential reversal, tug of war between buyers and sellers. So it's like going up and down, right? Pushing higher, pushing lower, and it closes somewhere in the middle. That's why we get something like a cross, right? And the opening price and the closing price is the same. So let's take a look at another bullish candlestick bar on besides a reversal. So you can see this doji is what we call a reversal candlestick bar. Let me just write down doji. All right, so it doesn't matter what is the name, right? But as I say, remember what happens behind it. So that it's like a cross, it's like a tug of war, up and down, and finally close somewhere in the middle, right? So there will be another bullish candlestick bar as well. So you can see this is like a bullish candlestick bar, but if it goes something like this, so a green bar, all right, same thing, we have like a green candlestick bar, and this time round, this green candlestick bar, it will be one whereby we have same thing, a upper shadow, kind of like the high of the day, and we have a very long lower shadow, something like this. So now comparing this one, the original one, whereby the high and the low of the day is about the same, right? Both equal length in terms of the black line at the top and bottom, but in this case we have at the bottom, the low is very low, right? Very low. This is what we call a long lower shadow. The high of the day is normal, all right, but I would say that this would be more bullish, right? More bullish, all right. Why? Well, because simply because we have what we call a longer, all right, longer shadow right over here, right? So this is like a longer shadow at the bottom, a long lower shadow. This means that same thing, it's green, right? So it opens lower and close high, but what happens is that it actually opens lower and it went down, down, down. So if you look at it in the middle of the day or in the morning, right, it was actually a red candlestick bar. It was actually a pretty bearish bar, like this. It could be something like this. Look at this, right? Because it actually opens here, all right, opens, and it went down. Actually went down. So in the morning or maybe in the middle of the day, right, it was actually a very bearish candlestick bar. It actually looked like that, right? But what happens was somewhere at the end of the day, buyers came up, all right, buyers came back and they started to buy, right? Buyers started to come back and they buy all the way up until it closes right over here, all right, somewhere here. This is where the closing price is. So it just represents a lot of strength. It just shows that sellers were in control in the morning or in the middle of the day, but buyers came back and they buy all the way up, and it closes, go past the opening price, went up even more, and it closes somewhere at the high. So that's where when you see what we call a long lower shadow or a candlestick bar with a wick, right? Some people call it a wick as well, whereby the low of the day is very long, very low, but came all the way back up again. That's where we can see strength, all right, in the particular stock, especially if this happens near like a support level as well. So same thing, right? If it happens like something like this right over here, all right, where it's a long lower shadow, all right. So that's where we sit near a support level as well. Yeah, it gives more weight to that support level. It just shows that buyers are coming out to buy back, to bargain hunt, and to defend that support level as well, just because we got this long lower shadow. So coming back to what we call the resistance level, this selling zone, whereby every time prices were to hit there and came back down. So now if you were to see like a candle, right, with, it could be like a bearish bar as well, or a bearish candlestick bar, and if you see a candle with a long upper shadow, that means this black vertical line represents the high. So it went all the way to high, it looks pretty bullish, but then what happens? Sellers came back, they started selling down, crossing even below the opening price, going down, and closing lower. So if you kind of like sit near a resistance level, whereby many times prices have touched or hit it there and come back down, and now you see this what we call something like a shooting star. So there's a name for it. This is what we call like a shooting star. Well, then you want to be careful. That's where we could potentially see the reversal, you know, all the way back down again, just because we spotted this shooting star, or this bearish candlestick pattern. So usually, in a nutshell, right, we try to spot these candlestick bars or patterns right near a support and resistance level. That's where we give a bit more weight, because it's happening what we call at near some of the hot zones, whether is it where selling can come back or where buying pressure can come back as well. That is better, right? So if we do see like a candlestick bullish or bearish one happening right in the middle of a range, or no, that doesn't give much meaning, well then sometimes it might not be so meaningful. But if you happen to see it near like a support and resistance, great. That is where it gives you a little bit more confirmation of like a potential reversal move back down, or maybe kind of like a rebound from that support level again. All right, so let's take a look at some case studies to see if you can spot some of these bullish candlestick pattern, like the Doji, or maybe even like this shooting star, or maybe even this bullish candle whereby there's like a long lower shadow. So guys, if you like this video so far, give me a like, smash the subscribe button as well. That will definitely help out the channel. Hit follow, and thank you so much for doing this. Let's go ahead to look at some live case studies right now as to where we can spot some of those candlestick patterns or bars that I've talked about, and what does it actually mean after that, right? So you can see this is one of the stocks that we like, called YZJ Shipbldg, listed on the Singapore market. So normally, before I try to spot any of these candlestick patterns, I usually will go ahead to draw what we call support and resistance lines. Let me go ahead to draw it for you before I explain very quickly. You can see right over here, this is what we call like a support level. So a support level is one whereby, you know, each time prices will hit down, it starts to rebound, it rebounds. That's what we call a support level, and it could be a resistance previously as well. So let me just draw it to another one before I explain to you. I think somewhere over here, maybe there will be one more line right over here. So as I mentioned, we try to spot this candlestick bar, whether is it bullish or bearish, near support and resistance, because it gives more weight to it. Maybe one more right over here. You can see this is pretty much like a support level as well. So let me go ahead to dive into this stock and see whether can we spot any of those bullish candlestick bars. So remember, when you are looking to buy, you want to buy stocks whereby it is like, you know, signs of an uptrend, a stock that is strong already, or maybe even near a support level. Plus, now if it's near the support level in an uptrend, plus you see some of those bullish reversal candles that I talk about, right, regarding like a long lower shadow or a very bullish candlestick bar, well, that would give more weight in terms of that reversal or more upside. Does it make sense? All right, so let's try to find it right over here. I think there would be another line somewhere over here, support level. So maybe somewhere over here, you can see that for like YZJ, it was like a support level whereby we have like rebounded like 1 time, 2 time, and 3 times. We have something like a Doji right over here. You can see, right? So this candlestick bar, there's no green or no red. It's you know, it opens and closes at the same price like what we have learned. And there is also a lower shadow. That means it went all the way down, went up, and it closes somewhere at a high. So it's like a Doji with a long lower shadow, which is pretty bullish, I would say. And you know, the fact that, you know, kind of went here and rebounded, it means that we may see a support level if prices were to actually come back down again. And true enough, right, after that, I would say about 1 month, 2 months later, we hit it down and we saw another candlestick bar. So in this case, this candlestick bar is red in color, but you can see that we have like a lower shadow. Does it make sense? Lower shadow, that means it actually went down, buyers came back and pushed it all the way up. And even though it closes below the opening price, I mean, that's the reason why it's red in color, but the fact that we have a lower shadow right over here, same spot as here, it gives a bit more weight that now, you know, this support level may be around that $1.15 would be a pretty decent support level. And if prices were to hit there again, there could be a potential entry to get back in to ride any reversal. All right, so you can see same thing on the third time. We hit it down again, and this time we got a bullish candlestick bar with a slight long, I would say, yeah, pretty normal shadow at the bottom, started to rebound. So it gives a bit more weight, just by these 3 bars happening right at this price, candlestick pattern happening near the support level. It just gives more weight to a particular rebound. So let's see if you can spot any of those candlestick pattern again. You can see maybe somewhere over here, I think let's see. I think yeah, somewhere over here you can see that there is where we have another bullish candlestick bar, right? Somewhere over here it went down. Oh, look at this, right? So this was kind of like a resistance level that we actually broke above. Prices came back down, and this resistance actually turned to a support. And this support level, look at this, right? So resistance turns support, and right over here we saw a pretty bullish candlestick bar, right? A green bar with a long lower shadow as well, right? And it's a good thing, went up. Oh, look at this, right? Another candlestick bar spotted. You can see this is where we have resistance. So yeah, resistance, another one right over here. Can you see, guys? This is where we had resistance, came down. Eventually we broke it, but when you see kind of like a doji near a resistance, that's where we might see a bit of profit taking, right? It may be a while before we break it. All right, same thing, it went up. We saw another doji here, prices came down. So a doji, as I mentioned, is more like a reversal signal, especially if you see it near a resistance, there could be a potential downside. Or you see it near a support, great, that's where it could be a potential rebound. All right, so right over here came back down, and I would say maybe a couple of candles with lower shadow. Look at this, rebound. All right, so when you see a lot of candles with lower shadow, it just means that buyers are out to defend prices. They're out to coming to push prices back up again, all right, within the day, whereby it goes lower, but buyers comes out at the end of the day and push it even higher. So that's where you get lower shadows. And right over here, same thing, right? We have another bullish candlestick bar. So in this case, this bullish candlestick bar, there is no like a black line at the bottom or black line at the top. There's no shadows top and bottom, right? So this is what we call a pretty bullish candlestick bar. I've not covered it today, but this bullish candlestick bar whereby it opens at the low and it closes at the high. So there's no black shadow at the top and bottom, because the high and the low of the day is the opening price and the closing price. So opens lowest, close the highest, right? So it's pretty bullish, and you can see after that, and yeah, as I mentioned, right, it happened right at this spot over here. Same thing whereby we got this bullish candle previously where we have rebounded, right? So same thing happened, we got bullish candlestick bar and it started to push out. Eventually it broke this like resistance. You can see resistance, yeah, you can see right over here we broke it and it started to push higher. So let's see if you can see any candlestick as well. Right over here, can you guys see that when we hit it to here, it was a little bit of a resistance. How do I know? Well, there is another pretty bearish candlestick bar. So this is what we call like a doji, all right, a doji with a long upper shadow, right? So a couple of dojis, look at this, a doji, a red candlestick bar, another doji right here, and we started to push lower. So this gives a bit more weight that this price level would be a resistance level to watch, right? We might see selling if we were to hit there again, all right, and then it might be a while before we can break it. But yeah, it just means that there could be potential selling happening there again. There might be a reversal back down again, right? But finally you can see we broke this resistance and we started to trade up. So let's see what happens. So went all the way up, we found a resistance, came back down. Look at this again, guys. Can you see that now this resistance level, all right, whereby we saw selling, went down, we broke it, and now it became like a support level whereby we got another doji again. So it seems like this stock, right, Yang Zhejiang is like to do a lot of dojis near like a support or maybe even a reversal or like a resistance level whereby we can see like reversals happening. So we saw a doji, next day's pump started to push up again, and in fact we have another doji. Let me just shift it up here. This would be like a resistance doji coming out here again, red bearish candlestick bar maybe around the 195 level. So that's where I started to sell down. And let's see if you can spot any bullish candlestick bars over here. So this would be pretty bullish. Look at this, right? A green bar with a long lower shadow happening right at the same spot over here. Another doji. Well, it just means that buyers and sellers, there's a tug of war, all right, pushing up and down. Finally you close somewhere in the center, all right, but we're still above this support level. Another doji here, And yeah, and finally we are making our way kind of like back up again, right? So you can see we are right over here, maybe around the 190. So if we were to head up here and we see another candle, right, with like a doji, or maybe we were to stay below this resistance level, like what happened over here, right? Oh, then there could be a potential reversal back down again. But if we were to break this resistance, well, that could be a good thing. We may see more upside, and the uptrend can actually continue. So in this, this case study right over here, I did not talk about the trend in terms of the longer term or the short term. We are just pretty much focusing on prices, on support and resistance, and now how candlestick comes in the picture. But if you combine that together with like trend as well, especially if you see like a bullish candlestick bar near support level, plus the trend starts to turn up as well, all these just gives a lot of weight to the upside happening. This is what we call confluence of factors all pointing towards the upwards direction. So yes, this is YZJ, one of the Singapore stocks that have came with my watch list over the past few months. It still looks pretty good, alright. It seems like we are seeing the reversal right now. And by the way, guys, if you're looking at this video and if you're not a VIP client of mine in Phillip Securities, we do share some of those ideas. In fact, YZJ was one of those stocks that we WhatsApp out to our VIP clients by WhatsApp, like on a daily basis. So if you're not one, click on the link below this video. I'll just place the link right there. So how you can come on board as a VIP client of mine in Phillip Securities for free, alright, to get some of these ideas daily by WhatsApp, especially if you're like trading online on your own. You have like a trading account, but you don't get any service from your own broker, no ideas, no videos, no WhatsApp, no idea who he or she even is. Alright, do check it out on how it's come on board as a client of mine. The link is right below. Alright, so let's take a look at the new case study. Maybe let's take a look at this stock called Frencken, one of the stocks that have came into my watch list as well over the past 1 month. Okay, so this is Frencken, right? So this is where we are right now, maybe about $1.49. So let me go to draw what we call support and resistance line first. I think somewhere over here, that would be where we have a resistance level. Okay, maybe one more line right over here, something like a support level being found, and maybe another resistance level over here as well at $1.50, another resistance right over here, maybe about $1.70. All right, so that's what I like to do. All right, I always draw what we call my support and resistance, and we can see if you can spot any of those candlestick patterns near this support and resistance. You can see right over here, right, this resistance level, I would say this level is the $1.20, right? So look at this, right, a couple of times we have touched, and near 120 we got pretty bearish candle here. Look at this, a doji right over here. Next day started to sell all the way down, a bearish candlestick bar right over here, upper shadow at the top. Let's see, maybe another bearish candlestick bar. But you see, right, every time we approach the 120, we have seen some form of like bearish candlestick. It could be a doji, it could be a bearish candlestick with a long upper shadow as well. All right, all this gives a bit of weight whereby some selling can come back again if you were to hit to this level. So somewhere over here again. All right, yeah, we're still right below this resistance, and yeah, finally we attempt to break this resistance. So that's a good thing, right? So if you see a lot of bearish candle near a specific price level, that's where it has retraced lower many times, and finally we were to break that level. That could be a good thing. This means that finally buyers are ready to take out all the sellers, and we are prepared to go even higher. All right, so let's see if we can spot any candlestick patterns again. Okay, somewhere over here, right? So it started to trade higher, and we saw a little bit of a consolidation, and we got this doji right over here. All right, doji right over here, went back up, came back down, another doji spotted, started to move sideways a little bit and rebound back up. So as I mentioned, right, when you see a doji, right, that's where there's a very high chance of reversal, especially if it's near a support level. We may see a rebound, right? So all the way up, and a couple of maybe like a doji here, some bearish candlestick, nothing much. It just means that there's some selling pressure. Look at it's a bearish candlestick bar as we attempted to push above the 170 the next day. A pretty bearish bar, came back down. So we're still capped below this 170 resistance before heading down, down, down. And let's see, so another candlestick bar right over here. So remember, right, we were here at this support level one time, 2 times. So if we were to hit there again, there could be a potential whereby we might rebound again, especially if you see like a bullish reversal candle, like a doji over here. So you can see this is not really a doji, but somewhere over here we got this red bearish candlestick bar that happens, and we have a long lower shadow as well, right? So of course green will be better. We have a red bar, it just means it's still closed lower than the opening price, but the fact is that we have this lower shadow right over here. The next day we got a pretty bullish green bar coming out as it holds above this same support level around the 125 to 130, right? So we started to see a bit of a rebound already, all right? And now you can see that we are pretty much back to this support level. So this is support, we broke down, now we are back over here. So if we can break this like resistance, support term resistance at about 150, well, that could be a good thing. We may start to see more upside towards the resistance that we've seen previously right over here. That's where selling can happen again. And as I mentioned, right, if we happen to hit over here again and you see like another doji or like a candle with a long upper shadow, right, that's where we may see some profit taking coming back again. So yes, that's it guys. We have looked at 2 case studies of some Singapore stocks that has been my watch list for a while, all right, and how we have actually spotted some of those bearish and even bullish candlestick patterns, some of those reversal one as well, like the doji as I mentioned, and what happened after that. So I hope now you have a better idea of where to actually spot these candlestick bars or candlestick patterns, right? Not just in the middle anywhere, but actually near a support and resistance line. That's where we give a bit more weight to this candlestick pattern. All right, so if you like this video guys, you found some value, learned something, go ahead to give me a like, smash the subscribe button, hit the follow button. That would definitely help out the channel, and thank you so much for doing that. And as I say guys, for those stocks that we mentioned over here, we actually share some of those ideas by WhatsApp daily to our VIP clients in Phillip Securities for free. There's no additional cost whatsoever. If you are trading in Singapore, you have a trading account, you pretty much have to pay the usual commissions fee or settlement fee, transaction fee, whatever name they give, right? You definitely have some fees, right? And there's no additional charge. It's pretty much the same usual fees that you pay when you trade, but we do add value to our clients, right? You do get some of these ideas much faster by WhatsApp. So the link is right below. Click on it to find a little bit more, and I look forward to welcoming you on board as a VIP client of mine in Phillip Securities. Joey here. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.